You know, there really are a lot of things to worry about in this day and age. I should probably be worried about this whole coronavirus thing, but I found this roll of toilet paper in the street, and it came with half a bottle of Gatorade, so I think I'm gonna be okay. Unfortunately, though, I have some unfounded concerns about traditional multiplayer in Modern Warfare taking a back seat to Warzone, maybe even since the beginning of launch. But that's just, you know, silly, right? Just so silly. Damn it, I wanted it to be a cool transition. Alright, so I have been sort of singing the praises of Plunder and to a lesser extent Battle Royale, but that's just due to my personal interest. I have already made my case as to my concerns with Warzone, so I don't want to spend too much time reiterating those fears here. Because Warzone's already out, Plunder's fun, Battle Royale's cool, and people seem to be enjoying themselves, so I'm sort of in the wait and see phase right now. I'm sort of waiting and seeing what gets more support, what do they do with Warzone compared to what they do with traditional multiplayer. But my concerns are pretty much unfounded, I'll fully admit that. These are sort of just speculative ramblings you're about to hear, but they are in my head, and they relate to a game that I make videos about, so it makes sense that I make videos about my concerns. My speculative rambling might not be the most cohesive, important thing you'll hear all day, but hopefully you guys can see where I'm coming from, and we can share our opinions about this in the comment section below. So there's a couple of factors stacked with Warzone's release that sort of bother me when it comes to Modern Warfare. And those are how Spec Ops came out, the interactions that the community has had with Infinity Ward, and the type of content that we've gotten so far. First off, Spec Ops, which you won't see any gameplay running in the background here, is the worst PvE experience I think I've ever experienced, and it's pretty obvious why. It doesn't really utilize the open world other than making you drive from point A to point B. It doesn't utilize anything like stealth or allowing different parts of your team to go complete different objectives at different times and do things in a non-linear fashion and sort of explore the world or anything. No, it's very linear, it's very spammy, very clusterfucky when it comes to enemy spawns. Still really hasn't been fixed in that regard. There's too much going on all the time, and trying to secure certain objectives is just hell. It's not all 100% terrible, and you can have some fun with your friends, but just the lack of quality and polish on it, it's clear to me that they shoehorned in a PvE mode onto their Battle Royale map. And when looking at Spec Ops Classic, all I have to say about that is that they took one of the best missions in the campaign, a stealth mission no less, and turned it into a clusterfucky fetch quest that allows for no stealth whatsoever, and that just bums me out. Clearly, they made the map for Battle Royale and then shoehorned PvE into it, and when they were making the Battle Royale map, they wanted to do what Blackout did and add multiplayer maps, sort of areas for multiplayer maps from Call of Duty's past, to be more precise, and sort of spread them around the Battle Royale map, like Vacant on the Port Ground War map, which is also a part of the Battle Royale map, and Scrapyard next to the Plane Graveyard, which is on the Battle Royale map and in Spec Ops and all of that. But since they're not charging for multiplayer maps, I can't complain about this too much, but then they took those areas that they put in the Battle Royale map, put some barriers around them, changed the lighting a little bit, and then there's a new 6v6 map. And then with Atlas Superstore, they just took an area that works really well for like Battle Royale or something like Spec Ops even, but then just sort of made it a multiplayer map. And while I think it's a great concept for one, it doesn't really play that well, and I think it's because it was designed first as a Battle Royale area. Same with the Ground War maps, they don't really play as well as something like Battlefield 3 or 4 because they're not designed from the ground up to be maps. They're designed to be a part of a Battle Royale map, and then they sort of just sectioned it off into Ground War maps and sectioned off parts of those Ground War maps into multiplayer maps. We're gonna get Scrapyard as a 6v6 map, it's very obvious. It's the same thing they did with Vacant, and it's both clever and lazy, and makes me feel like I'm getting new content, and at the same time making me feel like I'm getting reused content. So if you can't tell, I'm conflicted there. It's not necessarily good or bad, it's sort of like, I guess that works for you, and I guess I don't have to pay for it, so I guess I can't complain too much. God damn it, I love complaining! Alright, so now, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna be talking about how Infinity Ward communicated with us with Modern Warfare. Now, in the first month, all I expect are bug fixes and just a hectic shit show at the dev studio. I didn't expect any massive changes from October 25th to November 25th. And then from November 25th to December 25th, that's the holidays, no developers were working in that time period. You weren't getting any content in other games, and Modern Warfare did drop a couple of free content things for us in that time period, so honestly, props to them for that. So you have the launch month, and then you have the holiday month, but then from January 2nd to now March 14th, communication really hasn't gotten much better. Now, to their credit, we've gotten lots of free content that doesn't split the player base and sort of adds to the game whether you like the content or not. I mean, if you really hate it, it might take away from the game, but who knows? Like, I hate Shipment and Rust, and I hate how often they show up, and Shoot House is also getting on my nerves now. But it's free, people like it, it's a different experience, so I can't complain. People hate Grozny Raid, I love Grozny Raid, I hate Rust, people love Rust, you know, it's all up in the air. We've gotten 6 free weapons, even though some of the weapons are sort of just not relevant to the meta, or they're completely boring and they add very little to actual variety, and they're sort of just there. Like the Ram and the Grau are sort of like slightly different versions of like the Kilo and the M4, and the Holger is very statistically close to the Kilo in a lot of ways. But the new shotgun and the Striker SMG and the crossbow were interesting additions, so that's half of the weapons we've gotten being sort of unique additions to the weapon roster. There's been quality nerfs and buffs and some good patches and some perk rearranging and stuff that I really appreciate, but stuff like spawns and the minimap and Dead Silence being a perk and how the ghost perk works, all of that is still just this sort of thing that I guess the community's gotten exhausted asking for. Like, people wanted Ghost to work like it did in Black Ops 2. People want Dead Silence to be a perk, and then I think if they add Dead Silence as a perk, I think they should also add Awareness as a perk in the same category, but whatever. But people want the minimap to show unsuppressed fire and not show suppressed fire, sort of the way it used to be, and that just hasn't happened. And the communication from Infinity Ward is very lacking. In fact, we're only getting the information about what's coming out the day before it does. So Warzone comes out tomorrow, Season 2 drops tomorrow, and then you don't really get any hype. We got hype with Season 1 and like what was going to be included, and we got to like talk about it and look at the picture and be like, oh, this is coming and I hope this is like this, and oh, we're getting all hyped, and now they just drop it the day after. I really hope they stop doing that. It sucks, especially for me as a content creator. I want to be able to talk about stuff and get hyped about things, and they don't let us know what's happening until the day before it does, and that's shitty. So their communication with us kind of sucks, and them listening to us is also kind of sucks. They have given us some quality buffs and nerfs and changes and rearrangements. I understand that. I like that the content is free. I like that microtransactions are cosmetic. I really appreciate a lot of things with this game. Like, I really like this game, guys. But when my concerns are like, okay, can we get the Ghost perk the way it was in Black Ops 2? Could we maybe nerf the accuracy of some overpowered meta-dominating assault rifles? Could we get better spawns? Because I feel like the spawns have gotten worse since launch, and it was one of my biggest complaints at launch. And it's really disheartening to see someone like Joel Emsley tweet out that everything's been leading to Warzone when they didn't hype anything up for Warzone, and they punished people for sharing any sort of tangible leaks with Warzone. So when he says everything's been leading up to this when they did no promotional material for it, other than adding the classified tab on the map and sort of figuring everybody else knew, I guess, but it sort of makes it sound like the entire development process was leading up to a free-to-play Battle Royale mode. We can build a Battle Royale map and then put other Call of Duty maps in the Battle Royale map like Blackout did, but then section them off and release them as multiplayer maps to the traditional multiplayer. We can cram crappy PvE mechanics into our Battle Royale map and call that Spec Ops, and we can misuse moments from the campaign as Spec Ops missions. And we really just don't have time to do all the things everyone's asking for, because they're asking us to do things for 6v6 and 10v10 traditional multiplayer maps, not our free-to-play Battle Royale mode, which has a lot of microtransactions in it, which, although they're cosmetic, is just big dollar signs to Activision. Activision is very smart, and they know that a free-to-play Battle Royale with a battle pass and kind of expensive cosmetics could mean giant dollar signs. For traditional Modern Warfare, $60 is likely all somebody's gonna put down. There's no season pass, there's no $15 DLC, so somebody spends $60 and they're happy to just spend $60. Maybe they'll buy a battle pass, but then they can earn back their COD points through the battle pass, which is very consumer friendly. I'm not saying Activision's dumb for this, but you can earn back your COD points and buy the next battle pass without actually spending any real money. That just takes a lot of time and grinding, but it's not impossible. But how do they get people to keep dropping cash? Well, release a free-to-play battle royale with paid skins and a paid battle pass, and there you go, 15 million users, all having those microtransactions advertised to them. If just half of those people bought one, that's a lot of money. So what am I saying? This isn't some big conspiracy, don't take this too seriously, it just seems like a mismatch of priorities. For every hyperbolic, angry fanboy that just wishes that Modern Warfare was exactly the game that he wanted it to be, there have been some very reasonable requests that have just completely been ignored in my opinion. And Season 2 is a pretty lackluster season, really only giving us Rust, and now Rust isn't even in its own playlist anymore as far as I know, and I've only played Atlas Superstore now 4 times, and I've still only played that Ground War map like twice, so it sort of feels lackluster on the traditional multiplayer side, and it's like Season 2 was really all about Warzone for them, almost to say that everything was leading up to it. And I'm not saying I blame them, I just think we are kind of already seeing a mismatch of priorities, but we still have to wait and see. We still have to see what Season 3 holds and see what the next couple of months holds for Modern Warfare and what they release and how they add things. But like I said in my Warzone video, it sort of feels like Infinity Ward is ignoring us and then buying us dinner to make up for it, but our request still hasn't been heard. The things that I pre-ordered Modern Warfare for are going underutilized, like night vision or realism mode, or, you know, the things we saw in the beta that were their big hyping points, and now they want me to be excited to just, you know, go play Battle Royale, and even the main menu of Modern Warfare just flashes the word Warzone everywhere. It's like I'm not playing Modern Warfare anymore, I'm playing Call of Duty Warzone Modern Warfare, and that's kind of weird. None of this is evil, and again, this isn't a conspiracy. I'm not saying you're being screwed with your pants on, I'm saying that I don't like the correlations I'm seeing. But I encourage you guys to hold your outrage and wait and see, and I will see you in the next video. See you when I see you in the next video, like I just said, and goodbye.